We shall beat to quarters!
It was the year 1781. We were en route from Calcos in the West Indies to Chesapeake Bay off America's east coast. Over the last 6 weeks, rapid repairs have been carried out to HMS Gallant due to heavy damage being sustained in battle with the French. We had come up against one of their 100 gunners that our own Royal Navy 70 gunner could not match. Our ship would probably have been blasted to smithereens and sunk if it were not for the sudden change in weather. High winds and bullish waves took us from dead men's lockers and French weaponry into, eventually, calmer waters. So often I thought we would perish. The Christians had it that God was on our side, but I just reckoned we were lucky. Our hull had held out and stayed intact, although the mast and deck were in tatters. I would never have believed that in 3 fortnights' time we would be back on board the Gallant, sailing once again into hostile territory. The Americas were rebelling and the French were at their side. The Battle of the Capes was about to go down in history as a decisive victory that would have the British humbled into recognising the independence of the United States. It was a French victory in the American Revolutionary War. Bad weather had been prevailing, and we had hardly gotten away from the caring arms of the Bahamas when a cruel sea elected to whip up a thunderous and mighty squall. The storm that followed was of such ferocity and anger that the Gallant and her crew would never witness another battle, ever again. Apart from the strewn broken yard arms and billowing canvas, there was hardly anything left of our ship as it now descended to Davy Jones's locker at the bottom of the sea, with crew and all, except, it seemed, for me. I had desperately held on to a snapped yard arm that had offered itself up after a monstrous wave capsized the ship. The turbulent sea propelled and tossed me, flinging me about as if I were a rag doll. I felt my time would come soon, although I would hold on to the deck. I had taken in a fair amount of water, causing me to cough and splutter and struggle. I felt I was slowly drowning. Ever so gradually, the sea storm quietened. I was convulsing spasmodically whilst vomiting water and was just waiting for a drowning death. My strength was all but sapped, and I could do little more than limply cling on to my pole. My head was pounding in unison with my heart as stomach cramp and thirst became my new enemies. All I could think of was just to hold on. The storm had all but passed, and I soon became aware that I was in the company of floating wreckage from what was, I assumed, my own ship. I drew on my dwindling reserves of energy to gather some of this flotsam in order to improve buoyancy. I bound splintered poles with varied apparel and bundled on top as much canvas as was possible, and then purposefully entangled myself within. From my endeavours I was now at least able to lie flat on this makeshift raft. I soon passed out into delirious unconsciousness. I wearily came around from my blackout, not knowing how much time had passed. Reality quickly flooded back. All around me now were shades of blue. I felt parched from the searing heat that was roasting my body. I began to tremble uncontrollably. I was resigned to weariness and abandonment and was now surrendering to thirst and hunger. I started to allow my mind to drift and slip off to wherever fate deemed. This submission seemed to ease my current anxiety, which stemmed from the pain and discomfort that I was enduring. The weight of life's turmoil began to lift, giving way to cloudy visions of when I was a boy. Young and carefree, playing with friends where my only concern was a scrape on my knee. A warm, pleasurable glow now replaced my distress and foreboding. This feeling of emotive bliss caused me to smile, although, it seemed, my human spirit was acting alone as an annoying encumbrance to my contented languish and would not allow my soul to be free and escape to death. The inner spirit from within stoked a small flicker of hope, along with a glow of desire that searched for something which might yet save a yielding body.